Oh, this looks interesting.
Hello and welcome to this breaking webinar news update. I'm your host, Kevin Busza, joined here with Bryan Marx from Logitech. Today we're going to explore the topic of why your Teams needs Microsoft Teams. And there are so many reasons why. So we're going to take a journey through a number of topics, emphasizing Logitech and its strong presence in the market, Microsoft, of course, with its almost 80% dominance in the Teams room environment, and then highlight Profound Technologies, my company, as a partner to help you do it all. But before we begin and get into our first few segments, let's hear from Bryan Marx, Alliance Manager at Logitech, his background and a little bit about AI.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. The only reason I'm here is so I can do this with a couple pieces of paper here on live television. But actually, before we get started, I know this is an emergency webinar, but it's also kind of a podcast, especially with this, this microphone right here that's not actually connected to anything. So I wanted to do what I always do in the podcast that I watch and give you a gift. Oh, this here is some swag. I'm known internally and externally as kind of the swag guy at Logitech. So I wanted to give you this shirt. It's from a company called G4. It's a new golf company that we're into at Logitech. So that, my friend, is for you.
I appreciate it. If we get enough votes, maybe I'll wear it after the break.
Vote now, vote often.
Vote, and be sure to put your questions in the bottom of the chat. We're going to address those at the end. And I'll also mention before Bryan continues with the introduction, we have giveaways today. Come here, some familiar faces, some new ones. I see a lot of you joined us today. We're going to give away a Logitech dock, which I have one on my desk. Do you have one in yours?
I have two.
Yeah. All right, even better. And that is a great tool, particularly for Microsoft Teams or any meeting platform, to be able to just enable your meetings. Use it for your mic, speakers, use it for your button and your camera control. We'll be giving that away at the end after the intermission and wrap up. And we're also going to give away Zone Wireless 2 headsets. So please make sure to stick around to the very end. But let's start again by hearing from Bryan and your background, and then also a little bit about Microsoft Copilot and how that's working with the Logitech.
Yeah, and fun fact, the Zone Wireless 2 is actually the first ever Teams certified native Bluetooth headset as well. So very excited to give that away. As the North America Alliance Manager with Logitech, it's my job to manage with Microsoft. And ultimately what's happening right now in the marketplace, effervescent buzzword known as Copilot, right? It is democratizing AI to ensure across the workplace, to ensure that we're all working more efficiently and productively, right? Microsoft, whether we're talking Teams, Copilot, Teams Rooms, is the platform, right? Microsoft is the software, but you need hardware in order to really optimize that experience. Logitech is here to kind of fulfill that vision, right? So what we're seeing in the market right now, specifically in Teams Rooms with Copilot adoption, not just deployments, but adoptions, that almost 80% across the segments of enterprise and commercial across North America, 80% are actually expanding on their TR estate because they realize that the best way to see Copilot spread its wings is to ensure that those rooms have the ability to do multi-streaming, intelligent recap, and summarizing accurately that transcription. And so having the data and all those capabilities to ensure that you're getting the most ROI for your Copilot investment. So that's what we're seeing in the market right now. And we're kind of excited to talk through it today.
Very excited. And we'll talk more in just a few moments about the collaboration between Logitech and Microsoft that allows for that neat experience where Copilot features and other things work seamlessly with the hardware. But before we do, a little bit of information about my company, Profound Technologies. We've been a systems integrator in this space for about 25 years, presenting our customers in the Northeast, down to Virginia, and also out of Southern California. We design and build systems for our customers, which can include custom systems such as auditoriums, boardrooms, executive briefing centers, broadcast facilities, but we also provide pre-engineered solutions, which would describe the Rally platform solutions. In our Experience Center, which is located at both our Philadelphia and Southern California offices, you have the ability to set up live, remote, or in-person demos of all the technology. So for today, anything that we talk about, and during our brief 2 to 3 minute intermission, you'll be faced with a QR code. But if you'd like to set up a no obligation demo to see any of this technology running in Teams and mode, that would not be a problem. Lastly, we are a professional systems integrator that builds things. So when you work with Technologies, you have the full backing of our engineering and our project management staff, together with our on-site technicians who will carefully deliver to your site and put together your system to the specifications that best fit your room and your use case. So that's right. We are a buy and build company. So any of these solutions today, you can build with us at your facility, but also if you see something that you like, and we're going to get into some of the new technologies in just a couple minutes, you can buy those through our sister company, ChesterSpringsAV.com. That's right. We have an e-commerce site where if you simply wanted to buy a Rallyboard 65, which we'll explain what that is in a few minutes, you could go directly to ChesterSpringsAV.com and we could ship that to you later this week. But anyway, let's transition back to the Logitech and Microsoft relationship. There's a storied background there. Can you tell us a little bit about your co-innovation?
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. It really, people don't understand how far back our relationship goes, right? 4 decades. So about 41 years ago, it started with the mouse that built the house, if you will, more as an accessories company. And we've been able to, especially over the last 10 years, evolve in our partnership and kind of be more and become more of the cloud peripherals type of company where we're able to leverage a lot of software, a lot of AI, and services as well. And so in doing so, through that partnership, we've been able to co-innovate together as well. So a lot of times when we invent something or we innovate something, we're not baking a pie and then sending it to Microsoft and hope that they love the flavor.
Sure.
We're inviting them into the kitchen, we're fine-tuning ingredients, and we are baking that pie together, right? And so most recently, if you can remember, before Teams rooms, it was a Skype room. Remember that? And so we had the first touch screen tap interface, and it was called a Smart Dock at the time. So we came to market with the first kind of controller in a room for a Skype room. And since then, we've also been first to the market with both Android and Windows on a single device, first to market with Teams certified earbuds, docking stations like we talked about earlier with the Logi Dock.
Even Sight, wouldn't that be an example of a collaboration that was leading the industry?
Yeah. And that's a great story because that actually was in its infancy. It was actually the brainchild of a few meetings that we had through ideation back in 2018. So before the Rally Bar and the Rally Bar Mini came out, we had talked about kind of recreating the vision on the center of table or center of room solution. And Microsoft came to us. Yeah, Microsoft came to us and said, we'd love to reinvent this solution. And we said, well, that sounds great, but what if we actually operated with it in concert with our front of room solution so that it's now front of room and center of room simultaneously? And of course, by 2022, that vision became a reality.
It's a great solution. It's also a piece that's available to demo in our Experience Center. I highly recommend you check this out. As we continue to talk today, Site will come up again, and it could be something we can spend more time talking about in a private demo. But moving right along, I want to talk about what's the value of working with an elite or certified Logitech dealer?
Yeah, ultimately what you're able to get, and we've had so much success over the last 5 to 6 years, but specifically with you guys, with Profound. And a big part of that really comes to the certifications, the ability to scale when needed, to deliver, and also to kind of have that full stack of service capabilities. So whether we need configuration, whether a customer needs that install and integration piece, having partners like Profound is a huge aspect to ensure that the entire process is streamlined.
Appreciate that. Yeah. Now we're going to get into the nuts and bolts. I've told you there's this concept of breaking news, and here are some of the items that we would like to highlight, starting with something that is a very hot product, somewhat hot off the bat here. We have the Rallyboard 65. It was introduced to ship first in April, and it's only more recently been shipping in any quantities. Can you tell us a little bit about Rallyboard 65, Bryan?
I'd be happy to, Kevin. So the Rallyboard 65 is our newest invention. This was able to hit shelves about 2 to 3 months ago. And what it is an all-in-one collaboration touchscreen display device with built-in speakers, with built-in microphones, but also with a built-in very impressive camera lens with a 1-inch sensor behind it. And so for those in the technology industry, you know that having that sensor that size is going to create a dramatic impact and just an influx of capabilities when we're talking about superiority in how sharp and also the framing capabilities that the visuals are able to provide. And what you're able to see in that video as well is that you can also dictate whether or not and configure that screen to dictate where the lens is going to be located. So it could be underneath the screen, it could be above the screen, but you can orient that and feel great about the fact that you can use it in high flex, you can use it on our proprietary cart, or you can also use it in a traditional conference room. So
simply mounting it to the wall. The other options that I think are valuable, and I'm sure we have some people that are IT stakeholders that have joined us today. So just the knowledge that you can run this Rallyboard 65 in both an appliance mode off of Android, or you could accompany it with its own outboard compute and have your Teams room on a Teams device. And that's really important for certain organizations to maintain compliance. In addition, one of the features I think is most remarkable, certainly for the price point, is the environmental sensors that are on this device. Bryan, what are these environmental sensors?
Yeah, and I will add there too that it is Microsoft Teams Room certified on Android. We are expecting the Windows certification to come by middle to late October. But that being said, when we're talking about the environmental sensors, it's so great to have something built in so it can understand real time what the occupancy is for booking and releasing rooms, but also understanding how many folks are in the room at one time. Plus, it'll provide real-time insights on what the CO2 levels are, also what the oxygen levels, what the temperature is, and kind of provide that to the dashboard and send a lot of that over to a BMS, publish APIs, be able to send it back to sync, and just allow a lot of the folks internally to understand the overall health of the room.
Yeah, I think it's tremendous value. The very fact that a mobile display has those features in it blows my mind. Being in the industry for over 25 years and just realizing that we would customize or we would program building management systems, Siemens systems or things that are controlling lights and environmentals, and how costly that would be. Mm-hmm. But here today, you have with the Rallyboard 65 the ability to get occupancy, CO2, VOC, so your basic air quality, and if your CO2 is too high, that could cause headaches or different health concerns. And then in the future, Logitech will be releasing another device, won't be a subject of our conversation today, but called Spot. And that device, for a very economical price point, could be mounted in any of your rooms and gather additional occupancy data that could then be reported into the Logitech Sync system, which if you don't know what Sync is, we're going to cover that in a later segment. But there you have it, guys. We talked about Rallyboard 65, and moving right along, we're going to carry on with our next topic, which is the Scribe. So picture you still want to do whiteboarding in your environment. And maybe digital whiteboarding is not quite your thing because you still like that tactile experience of a pen. You want to write the notes yourself. You want to do the facts and figures. You want to be able to operate in that way extemporaneously because that's just how you are and that's your culture. Well, enter the Scribe. The Scribe is a presentation camera that mounts above a 4x6 foot display and gives you the ability to have just that, a whiteboard. However, it doesn't stop there because the Scribe is also supported as a native whiteboard in Microsoft Teams. What does that mean? Well, along with the Scribe comes a small wireless button that can be mounted right by the screen. And when you press that button, it's recognized by Teams as a whiteboard and supplies it into the meeting as a whiteboard as your content feed. So you get camera and content feed. The reason that's valuable is because though you can put multiple cameras in a Microsoft Teams room, if you were to do that, you'd have to switch the cameras from the menu, and you might have to deal with something like some obscure USB camera name. Instead, because of Logitech's close relationship with Microsoft and their keen eye on design and user interface and simplicity, now you can have a whiteboard that works for you with just the push of a button. That's pretty much the long and the short of it. Maybe, Bryan, can you tell us a little bit about the transparency features that you can get with the whiteboard as well?
Yeah, seeing as it is the first to market Teams certified AI-powered whiteboard camera, it has the capabilities to create opacity or be able to see through the presenter real time. That way, if you're standing in front of the whiteboard and you're writing something, the folks on, with the view and everyone who is attending that meeting from a virtual standpoint, they're able to see what's being written real time. They're not asking the presenter to move over after they're done and just kind of waiting there, sitting for them to finish. So
I think it's great. That's a configuration that you can do in Sync. You're going to be able to go in and configure, how transparent my arm is as it guides across the screen. And what a huge value when you're up there doing your facts and figures or those things that are important to your meeting environment to have it ghosted. Personal preference, maybe about 90%. You still want to see a little bit of the finger so you can point at a particular inflection point, but a tremendous solution. One that's been around for a couple years. It was 2021 it was released, but has just become more popular. And as your team needs to think about Microsoft Teams, this news update, this is something you shouldn't gloss over, because after all, where do we see these in the experience centers for Microsoft itself? Are they using these?
The innovation hubs globally, and I've only been to the ones in North America, but about 50% of the rooms at all 15 locations, amongst other Microsoft offices, utilize the Scribe, and they use it very, very often. It's really cool to see. When we came out with the Scribe back in 2021, we had kind of gone to market thinking this would be a huge player in the K-12 and higher ed space. And what we found out is not only was that a huge success, but also seeing it in the commercial and enterprise space as well. Really, really significant usage over the last few years. It's cool to see.
It is. And for those of you who have a Logitech environment and you're thinking to yourself, boy, I'd like to add Scribe. Well, the good news is through Profound Technologies, with our buy and build capability, we can help you with that and install it into your environment. And if you'd simply like to purchase one, you can see us at ChesterSpringsAV.com, where you could purchase a Scribe today, and we can have that shipped out to you.
I just bought this mic on Chester Springs AV on your website yesterday. Yeah,
it works.
Yep.
Good, appreciate it. Moving right along, we're going to talk about a device that helps make complex rooms simple for transitioning to different camera views. In the past, this was something that was a bit of a custom work effort. Having been in the audiovisual industry for 25 years, we know that we've done classrooms, we've done auditoriums, where there was quite a bit of logic and computer programming, control system programming, to give the ability to have multiple different cameras and presets triggered in a classroom environment. But now it doesn't need to be so difficult, and certainly not as expensive. Introducing Logitech Streamline Kit. With the Logitech Streamline Kit, you have the ability to mount a camera on the wall or on the ceiling, and with the option of 3 different configurable buttons, be able to, at the push of a button, change the automatic camera preset to the active speaker location of your choice. Picture the value of being able to do this in your larger rooms, your classrooms, your auditoriums, your boardrooms that might have carve-outs for podiums or special environments for whiteboarding. This device is so powerful, yet so economically affordable that it's hard to miss. Bryan, what else can you tell me about the Streamline Kit?
Well, it kind of reminds me of my days in college when I would wake up and decide I don't want to go to class. And there was one class in particular where I could actually log in via cable and watch the lecture. Now, fast forward to past the time when Uncle COVID comes to town, and now you're able to not just leverage that on YouTube like you could 10 years ago, but now you can go on Microsoft Teams and you can watch the lecture in real time. And what this does now is it allows for the professor and ultimately the educator to dictate and to direct the flow of the meeting, because they're able to know real time that camera is following them, especially if they're in an active role, a high flex situation, a lecture hall where they're doing different science experiments. It really brings more flexibility to the educator, and it's a long way to where it used to be, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So the message is 1 camera and 3 buttons could vastly change the value in your environment, and you should consider it if you're looking to build on your Teams rooms. So we've reached the point where we're nearly halfway through. We're going to take a brief intermission. I'm going to remind everyone again, we have 2 giveaways that are coming up here at the end. We've got about 10-15 minutes after the break to continue with, and we're going to give those giveaways as well as deal with any of your questions. We've talked about quite a few things, drop those in the Q&A, and I'll deal with those as we wrap up in just a few. But otherwise, we'll see you here after the break.
Hey kids, internet got you down? Tired of the soulless, dead-eyed TikTokers dancing badly? Are you beyond exhausted listening to boomers rage tweeting about current events? Has Instagram lost its appeal? In general, are your online interactions just coming up, well, a bit short? Well, does Profound have a solution for you? The Profound Technologies YouTube channel has the content that adds substance back to your online life. Why doom scroll when you can go on the road with Profound to exciting locations to see the latest and greatest the industry has to offer? No need to go fishing for likes when we have something you will actually like in our specialty series, such as Profound Appetit and the Profounder series. And don't worry, there are no trolls on Profound's YouTube channel, just industry-leading experts giving you a peek behind the curtain. So don't let the doom and gloom of the daily internet grind get you down. Pump some positivity back into your routine by making your ordinary day into a profound day.
And welcome back after the break. Glad to see that we've got a giveaway we'll be dealing with here soon. I'm going to put this to the side, but again, for those of you that wait another 10-15 minutes, once we're done here, we're going to give away a Logi dock and also a Logi Zone 2 wireless headset. But before we do, continuing with our breaking news, we're going to go over the room lineup. And I think it's a powerful way to demonstrate how Logitech's functioning in the marketplace. One standard user interface, which is the Logitech Tap, a platform such as the Rallyboard up to the Rally Plus, with these interchangeable pieces, the mic pods and some of the accessories. Let's have Bryan Marx take us through the lineup.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. So what you'll see here is kind of our t-shirt size lineup, if you will. So this isn't necessarily good, better, best. This is more small, medium, large. And so with the Rallyboard huddle, you're able to utilize that in your kind of 1 to 4 seats, your huddle in small rooms. Your Rallyboard Mini will kind of go up to 8 seats, and then your Rallyboard will be up to about 16 seats with the Rally Plus thereafter. And it's so important to remember as well, you know, we have 600 hardware engineers. Kevin, do you know how many software engineers we have?
I guess 1,000.
At Logitech, we have 1,800. So 3 times more software engineers than hardware engineers. So what you're seeing right here, keep in mind that we do have our own operating system called CollabOS, which is built in on the backbone of Android onto these video bars within the Rallybar family. So exciting stuff on that. And then, of course, when we're talking about accessories, whether it's a tap scheduler or a Scribe or the site, a lot of abilities for you to have a multitude of mic pods added in the room when necessary to ensure that that the sound and the right Sound 2 software that we utilize is being leveraged in the room as well. So all of that can be deployed on BYOD, but at the same time can be deployed on Microsoft Teams rooms natively on Windows or on Android. No matter what the SKU is or the bar on the wall, it's going to be the same one no matter how you want to deploy it.
Yes, and as we walk through this, it's a bit of an eye chart. I know we were trying to take you through the high-level concept of the continuity of the design, how CollabOS kind of transcends all the different pieces, and how it works interoperable with the different pieces that we've highlighted. We've shown you Site, we've shown you Streamline Kit, you're now aware of Scribe, and just the idea that depending on your t-shirt size, I think that's kind of an appropriate way to describe it, the room size that is, you pick the platform that works, and then you know that you can grow those and stay within that same platform while maintaining all Microsoft Teams, native Microsoft Teams user interface, because the tap, after all, the tap touch panel or tap scheduling panel is the most popular touch panel for Microsoft Teams rooms because of Logitech's dominance in the space. So I think really just designed to be easy to use and standardized on Microsoft Teams, and you have a glimpse of the lineup.
Yeah, and then we also have coming out very soon is what we're calling the entry-level kit. And that's going to have the capability of leveraging our new video bar called the MeetUp 2, along with, and it's going to be Windows certified, so it'll utilize a PC. But ultimately, this is going to be going to market at MSRP less than $2,000. So it's going to be wonderful to ensure that a lot of those other rooms that don't have equipment outfitted now will be able to do so by leveraging.
Yes, and I think another thing that is of extreme value are two options for you to take advantage of today. One is try and buy. So if there's any of these devices you'd like to see in your environment for 30 days, just maybe IT has to look that over as a typical protocol, or just in trying to do your own purchasing, you want to be able to try it before you make that commitment. Try and buy is available through both Profound Technologies and Chester Springs AV. When you contact us, we'll be able to handle that and get you a device that you can try at no obligation. And then also there is a proof of concept plan that I think you offer for some of our larger customers joined here today.
Yeah, through Microsoft, Logitech is able to leverage a POC program where we will actually send you a room kit for free. No cost, you get to keep it. So you're able to install it, integrate it, make sure you add it to your Pepsi challenge, if you will. Any customer looking to upgrade or refresh or outfit rooms for the first time, as long as it's a 50-room opportunity or more, we will send you a POC kit free to have. At the end of the day, the best way to sell a puppy is to let somebody hold it. So those are two options to ensure that you're getting what you need to make your decisions.
Yeah, so get that puppy today. Moving right along, our next segment, we want to talk about Sync, which some of you may be familiar with. It's Logitech's free telemetry or reporting system. So if you're a Logitech customer on the room side and you have a desire to register your room system with Sync, you would quickly and easily be able to define those rooms exist, globally, locally, regionally, so you can categorize them geographically. You can be able to see the overall system health for your environment if you have multiple rooms, and you can see system health at a room level. Within the room level, you can also explore and be able to see what certain devices are doing. Is a particular USB device offline? Is a device in your environment having an issue with connectivity? This gives you the ability to see on a single piece of glass, this is a browser-based solution that's included with your Logitech system, how exactly your systems are performing. But yet there's more. As you continue to work with Logitech, and in the case of maybe larger mid-market, academic, corporate, global companies, you may like to go from the freemium service and get some additional benefits. With Logitech Sync, you can upgrade your Sync experience to have enhanced services like proactive notifications. For example, something goes bump in the night, a device goes down, and you want to be aware of it. With the Sync system, it would be able to email you those notifications. Not just that, but also it has a multi-tenant concept. That's right, you can have multiple people that have access to the system. Why would you want that? Well, in one case, working with Profound Technologies, again, with us being a Logitech Elite dealer and also a professional AV integrator, we can handle triaging those notifications. If a notification comes in, we can back that up with our SLA to be able to remediate that either offsite or onsite. And that's some of the flexibility that you get with enhancing your experience with the Logitech Sync. You also, and one more note before we get into talking about the services offering, is you're also able to report trouble tickets through Logitech Sync. So think about this. You have the devices that are broken down into the specific rooms. Now that discrete device, that particular device, is now tied to a ticket that's sent to the manufacturer. How powerful is that when by comparison, other support mechanisms, even today with other companies that try to compete in this space with Logitech, are nowhere near as sophisticated as being able to put in a ticket specific to that room and that piece of gear. Anything else about Sync before we move into the services stack that you can add with Microsoft, with Logitech?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Kevin. So as you can imagine, managing Microsoft Teams rooms at scale is going to require the right type of intelligence and scalability. And so with Sync, you're able to get the your cloud device management portal that will effortlessly ensure that you're able to see and understand the health and manage those rooms in tandem with Teams Admin Center. Now, a small upgrade from that is going to be Essentials, which you talked about. That's going to have insights, APIs, enhanced room booking capabilities, also have ServiceNow integration as well. And then an upgrade from there is going to be our services stack, which is going to be known as Logitech Select. And now with Select, it's kind of like our day two managed services. So you're able to get full support, feel warm and fuzzy about the fact that you have a dedicated success manager, on-site spares, 24/7 support with a 1-hour SLA, and ultimately kind of ensure that no matter what time of day, no matter how much support you need, Logitech will have your back.
Yeah, I think they're great. And one thing to note is that these services components, can be 10, 15, 20% onto the cost of the room system. However, for those of you joining us today and you have an environment that has 50 plus units, there are volume pricing agreements that Logitech has put together that we'd be happy to help offer. I think it's powerful, especially at the Select level, to have a 1-hour SLA and a dedicated service manager for your environment that's at the manufacturer. And to me, it's somewhat of a no-brainer. So definitely want to ask you to consider those services and know that in our process, when you're working with Profound Technologies, we will walk you through your different options and give you both the multi-year discount options as well as what the value is in each of those options. And if you just simply would like to buy a license for an existing system, you can visit ChesterSpringsAV.com and buy a license today. And we would just get the email address registered for that, and you'd be able to put that in your Sync system later this afternoon. Moving right along, I'm going to ask the audience if you had any questions for us. You would drop that into the Q&A before we do the giveaway. I'm going to bring up my question list. I don't know how inquisitive everyone's feeling today, but let's take a look and see if we have any questions. All right, looks like we have a question from Daniel Levine. I'd love to have more information about the Streamline Kit as well as visiting one of your showrooms. Well, Daniel, that's great. What I'll probably do at this point, since it's not specific, we're going to link you up with either an account executive or a sales engineer. The delightful thing about working with our sales team is that everyone is technically trained. We take everyone through ongoing technical training. So not only will we be able to get you all the information you want to know, but you'll have a technology partner. That's something that's very important to us. We work as a company such that we work unless or until you feel better working with us than not. Then we have another question here in regards to Streamline Kit. How many buttons can be accommodated for different views? Well, it comes with 3 to start, so that would be 3 discrete views. I think you might be able to add another button, but I'm not sure. So it's 3 out of the box, but it's a possibility you could add another one.
Yeah, we max out at 3 right now. Our engineering team is looking to expand to 5. It really depends on use case, though. There needs to be, on the Logitech side, substantial reason for us to kind of, dedicate our team to ensure that that's capable. and make sure there's a need for it in the market. But we're looking into that right now.
And then last question here is there a limit to how many rooms can be inputted into sync?
No, there is no explicit cap into how many rooms can be managed by sync.
Okay, good. That completes our questions. So we can move on to our giveaway before I do the conclusion here. So we have 2 things to give away. I'm going to start with the Logi Dock. I guess, Bryan, do you want to pick a name out for the Logi
I would
Dock?
be honored, Kevin.
Let's see what we got.
Hold on. Let me close my eyes.
It's not your name.
This is for the Logi Dock.
Pick it. Yes, for the Logi Dock.
The winner of the Logi Dock is Jeff French.
Jeff French. Well, congratulations, man. Now we can do the Logi Dock wave when we drive past each other. That's great because me and Bryan have one. It's a tremendous piece of gear, and I hope you enjoy it. We'll be in touch to get that.
I love it. I use it every day.
I do too.
Yeah.
All right, next one. This is going to go the Logi Zone 2 wireless headset. Bluetooth bad boy that's going to make your meetings a little bit easier.
And the winner is Chris Hott.
Hot. All right, man. We got something for you, Chris. We're going to be in touch. You should enjoy that headset. And it's Chris Hott who wins the wireless headset. So let's just get back to our focus for today and talk about what did we cover in our brief time together today. Well, we started off by this question kind of being fun, tongue in cheek, why your team needs Teams. And it's true. It's true for a few different reasons. Microsoft being the air that we breathe, 80% market dominance in the rooms. Why do you need to be thinking about Logitech? For many of the same factors. I think the success in the marketplace is kind of the aftershadow or the echo of all of the engineering, all of the collaboration you've done with Microsoft, all of the successes, the fact that every one of these Microsoft Innovation Centers is like replete with Logitech gear tells the story. We wanted you to know that, in this process of not just knowing that your team needs Teams, but effectively when you try to go for those solutions, who should you choose to work with? We took you through my company, Profound Technologies. We showed you how, we care to have a technology partner relationship. We gave you instructions about how we've been in this industry for 25 years doing very custom systems across, government, high security, public sector, commercial. But then we can also do these Logitech pre-engineered systems. We did a little bit of a sketch of our experience center where even today and after this webinar, you can schedule to come and see our webinar and focus in on anything you wanted to. We talked about the Streamline Kit being of interest to Daniel Levin. We can do that with you. If you want to see the site, which is a 315-degree camera, we could do that as well.
It's an impressive space. It really is.
It really is. And we get a great deal of usage out of that room. So we welcome you to that. We talked about the room lineup. We wanted to express, what are the different room solutions that exist, the different t-shirt sizes. I like how Bryan describes that, and taught you a bit about how all these parts are kind of interchangeable accessories work across the platform, giving you the peace of mind that you're working on a stable system that's been developed in concert with Microsoft, that's Microsoft certified, and then allows you to get the benefit of Scribe, of Sight, of the mic pods without having to step into something different that's configured completely differently. And then we told you the story of Sync and just understanding that that reporting capability is attainable for you today, and it's free through the freemium service. But then we walked you through some of the reasons why and the benefits for why you might consider Essentials and Select to enhance the experience, to give you added reporting, to give you ticketing, and to give you the peace of mind of getting up to a 5-year warranty along with a 1-hour SLA for your concerns. And then I'll also end by saying any of this technology that we mentioned, you can get it as a proof of concept where we could send you these to be able to have in your environment based on your company size. That would be free. Or if you'd like to do a try and buy, we would be delighted to send that off to you for 30 days. And if you'd like it, please pay for it. And if not, send it back. But this has been a great time working with you. I want to thank you, Bryan, for joining us today.
Thank you, Kevin.
And thank you, everyone. Until next time, this has been a great time talking with you.
It's been an honor.